Hello and welcome to my latest vlog. This one is on the different varieties of composts I've made myself this year and testing out in different ways that I've grown it, all the aim of producing the best crop in the best circumstances. This particular scene is back in March, where I was earthing up newly emerging potato shoots in the no-dig style of growing. Okay, so let's jump into the results for the second early potatoes. Kestrel and Charlotte were the varieties used, and 3 different methods grown. Back to Eden, which is covered by wood chips only. No dig, which is the clip that I've just shown you recently, and then also 30-litre pots housing old compost recomposted with seaweed only. No fertilisers in any of these, nothing extra given apart from water. The one addendum I will use on those results is that the space used in the 30-litre pots was roughly 50% of the area that I used growing in open beds, so very economical on space. So this particular way of growing was using good quality compost, first laid over tubers on bare ground, cardboard laid between the rows to subdue the weeds, and then as the sprouts emerged in March, I would then cover up, as you can see, with good quality compost, providing all the nutrients needs, absolute zero need for fertilizers. Obviously frost is still a problem at this particular time of the year, so as you'll see later on, you'll also see me cover over with the plastic sheet to the right hand side there. That provides a small degree of frost protection that stops the frost immediately hitting the foliage. And here I go covering it over. It's a good tactic for early crops, and in my area the biggest enemy is blight, and of course there's no protection against blight, so if I plant early and crop early, I stand a better chance of avoiding that particular problem. Moving away from second earlies into main crop potatoes, I had 6 different formulations of compost to use in the 30-litre buckets. The base material was roughly the same each time, with the majority being grass and bracken, and then also weeds were a major ingredient, but not a steady amount. All hot composted to destroy weed seeds and any diseases up to 70 degrees centigrade. And then moving off the first 2 lines down to the base with seaweed, that was seaweed, mainly kelp, added in autumn. Base with comfrey was made in the summer as green comfrey became available. Base with worm finished compost was my best mix, the one I really think was going to work well. And the last one was an old one, which is something I tried this year, which has really surprised me with how well it's done. So what did I do then? So basically what I did was I planted 2 seed potatoes in 30-litre buckets and planted them all in exactly the same time. This background video just shows them being harvested. It's just to provide a little bit of shall we say entertainment whilst I'm waffling on. Anyway, so each one had a mulch of rough bracken on the top. This was just to prevent moisture loss if I could possibly help. I said, oh, that works reasonably well. It stops the sunlight getting directly onto the tubers. A good addition onto every variety of bracken. Into each bucket I did make a lot of holes in the bottom. As you see there at the bottom, the roots come out of the bucket into the surrounding soil, so that acts as a reservoir of moisture. So that does help in these very, very dry years. Okay, so let's get on with the results. I hear you cry. Okay, so the base load worked extremely well, much higher average weight across all three varieties than I was expecting. Conversely, the base load with liquid comfrey feed really bombed in my expectations. I expected far better from that. The base enriched with seaweed did reasonably well. I was hoping for better than that, if I'm honest with you. The base with comfrey was more or less I expected, in line with previous tests that I've done. The base and worm finished was a little bit less of a success than what I was expecting. I was hoping for far better, because this is the one that I compost for the longest, give the most attention to, and lavish the most ingredients on. So a little bit disappointed that it was a little bit lower. In previous years that has been far higher. I will repeat these results next year. Right, so we're all missing one result, and I'll put that up in a second. It is the old compost recomposted with seaweed through the winter. Now this gave the best results. There is a caveat with this. This was done on a different plot that wasn't surrounded by blighted potatoes on other people's plots. It had roughly 2 weeks more growth on it than the other crops, so I don't really see it's a direct comparison. I think that's just a result of the extra 2 weeks, but it still shows the capability of compost and seaweed as the sole fertility giver in a compost. Just moving back to the background video that I've got playing here, I would like to add a couple notations as I went. Each 30 litre pot was watered at exactly the same time. Each was watered the same amount to try and keep a level playing field. Each was cropped at exactly the same time. Blight was a problem. I lost one bucket through to blight, and the results are meant accordingly, and it may have cost me a couple of tubers on the odd one, but I don't think it's a massive influence on the overall results. They were weighed at the same time. Everything was tried to keep as level playing field as possible to make sure that results weren't influenced by patchy watering. As I have said, life got a bit complicated in June, but it was equally complicated across the whole crop, so there was no special treatment given to any one variety. The only thing I have been disappointed this year is on the liquid comfrey feed. I just cannot explain why that was so low, but there we are. The results are the results, and next year I will repeat them again. So what's planned for 2023? Well, I'm hoping to change things around a little bit. I've got the same composts on the go as last year, but this year I've got a couple of different blends that I want to try out. The base is already maturing. The compost with comfrey is already on the go. Base with worm finish will also be going. It's on the way, shall we say. New to me will be wood chip hot composted with grass and potato haulms and human urine, and as a self-determinate creature I believe that's within the full spectrum of plant-based culture. It's hot composted to 70 degrees for at least 3 weeks, so all pathogens are destroyed, should be okay. The one compost that I will repeat again, it will be the old compost from this year, recomposted with seaweed. Let's see how good that stands up for a second year. If you've got any questions, please put them in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again on the next vlog. Thank you very much. Goodbye.